Good morning and welcome back to Good Morning Tobago. This morning, as we continue our conversations here, we're talking about innovation, entrepreneurship, and commercialization. This morning, to have this conversation, we're talking with the Executive Manager of Entrepreneurship, Development, and Innovation at Careri, Mrs. Denise Ferguson. Good morning, Ms. Ferguson, and welcome to Good Morning Tobago.
Good morning, and thank you for having me on this morning.
Excellent. Well, you have sent out a call for individuals who have innovative business ideas that is close to commercialization to reach out to Careri to receive funding. Tell us a bit about the background of the grant and who exactly is funding the grant project.
So, this project was developed by the IDB Lab and the EU, of course, in collaboration with the Ministry of Planning and Development, and Careri is the executing agency. This part of the actual project, the grant itself, is funded by the EU. Other parts of the project is also funded both by the EU and the innovation within Trinidad and Tobago. We've recognized that many entrepreneurs have great innovation that they're ready to commercialize, or it's commercialized already and they're ready to scale up, but they do not have the funding necessary to engage, whether it's research or to buy new equipment. Or so that is what this grant is for. So up to $75,000 US will be given to firms, entrepreneurs, SMEs, as well as large companies who have an innovative product, service, or process ready for commercialization or ready to scale up.
All right, tell us about the conditions for application. What are the criteria that individuals must meet in order to receive the grant?
So the first criteria is that the business must be registered in Trinidad and Tobago. So it's not open to businesses outside of Trinidad and Tobago. You must be registered for at least 3 years. You must be financially compliant with your taxes, so it must be paid up. If you're an NGO and you do not pay taxes, then you would get a tax clearance from the Board of Inland Revenue. So that has to be done as well. You would need to. So first of all, the application is done through an e-portal. So you will go onto www.careri.com and you would go onto the e-portal and you would see the list of things that are needed. So you must be registered in Trinidad and Tobago. You must have your financial clearance for the last 3 years. You must submit your return of directors. And when it comes to the project that you have, it must be innovative and it must be commercially viable. So it's not just an idea that's still in your head. So it must be technology savvy, which means you have a prototype and that prototype has been proven and it's ready for commercialization or it's already commercialized for scale up, and it must be commercially viable.
What about scaling up internationally? What if the person's business is currently present in Trinidad and Tobago and the idea is to scale and become a global business? How or would they be a great fit for this grant?
They would be an ideal fit because that is exactly what we want. Export potential, bringing in forex, creating new employment. And so that when we talk about scale up, we're not just talking scale up locally, but certainly regionally and internationally.
Excellent. And how does the project really benefit Trinidad and Tobago on a whole?
So by giving grants, giving a jump start, giving entrepreneurs the ability to really take their product, their service, and make it more marketable, make it more commercial, what we will have is more sustainable and resilient entrepreneurs. We're going to have, as you just spoke about, maybe more export potential, more forex coming into the country. You may have the ability where we may be importing less because we now have a quality product that can be sold locally increase employment, especially youth and women employment. So really adding to the socio-economic landscape of Trinidad and Tobago.
And there are persons who often think that the process for application for these types of grants are quite tedious. Can you tell us what the actual application process is? What are some of the requirements in terms of the documentation? How long do you think the actual process of application might take each individual person?
Right? So the applications opened on the 9th of May and it closes on the 28th of June at 11:59 p.m. So you go again onto our website, www.kariri.com, projects, shaping the future of innovation, and you go onto an e-platform. So you can begin your submission. You don't have to finish it the same day. So there are a number of things you have to put in: your name, your address, the business address and business name, your directors. You have to also submit your financials for the last 3 years. It does not have to be audited financials, your tax clearance or your clearance of tax if you're an NGO, and you then fill out on the platform itself a concept note. So it's a very short concept note that talks about the innovation. It tells us what the innovation is about, why it's viable, how it could be commercially viable, and basically why you should be selected. So it's a very simple application, and it shouldn't take, if you have all that information that I just said there, you already know about your application, it shouldn't take you more than a couple hours to complete your application. And that's being generous. If you have everything, probably wouldn't take you between 1 or 2 from start to finish, just to allow you to think about what you want to write.
Is there such a thing as being too established for this grant?
Absolutely not. We recognize that even established organizations have innovation. So they may have something new, a new product, a new service, a new process, a new way of doing things, or they may be very established within the Caribbean or within Trinidad and Tobago. And as you said before, they now want to go global with the same product or with a different product. So we encourage everyone to apply.
And one of my questions has to do with the THA. Now, in my previous conversation with Dr. Faith B. Israel and the management accountant, Pesalan, they would have expressed that they often have difficulties with funding. Is the THA able to apply for grants like this, for example, in areas such as education and housing?
The THA is able to apply. So while it is looking at private sector led innovation, we do have some public agencies that have applied. But the main thing we have to remember, it must be commercially viable. So your proposal and your innovation must be able to be profitable.
Understood, understood. Now we're going to take a quick break right here and we'll be back right after this as we continue our conversation on shaping the future of innovation. See you soon.
Good morning, Tobago.
Okay, welcome back. We're going to continue our conversation with Kariri, and we're discussing here with Mrs. Ferguson the Shaping the Future of Innovation project and the Innovation Challenge Facility, which is grant funding for businesses. Now, as we discuss the funding, can you talk to us a bit about how this grant feeds into the wider agenda of Kariri to prepare businesses for that level of global innovation?
So, Kariri thinks about innovation and entrepreneurship in what we call mine to market. So, we have several different projects and programs that allow that. So, we have a project called the Idea Advisory Service. If you just have an idea, an innovative idea, and you want to validate that for proof business, we are able to do that. We then have another program called the Business Hatchery, where we then help you to move that business along in looking at your market, in looking at finance, in looking at several things. So we take you from the idea into the business. And with this grant, and of course, before I say that, I should say Kariri has a number of labs. So we can help when it comes to food technology. We could help you with product standardization, with proof of concept, with scale up in terms of product development. We have labs that can test the products, whether it's a chemical testing or microbiological testing. And if it's not food, let's say it's asphalt, we can also do that. We have someone who created a concrete block, another one who created a concrete louver. And so we can do testing for that as well. So when it comes to the grant, as indicated before, we've recognized that we have a lot of innovation, we have a lot of good leadership, a lot of good entrepreneurship. And so while we validated the idea, we've tested the business, and now we're helping you grow in terms of the business philosophy. There's some funding that's needed, whether it's to buy new equipment, it's to get some prototype developed, it's to get product testing, maybe outside of Trinidad and Tobago, market testing, etc. So that is what this project is about, giving the funds that are needed for entrepreneurs to be able to take that next step, either to commercialize or to scale their business quicker than they would have done if they did not get the funding. And this became really critical because of COVID-19, when a lot of businesses would have lost customers, they would have become unprofitable. And this is allowing them to jumpstart or to restart their business to success.
And there are existing businesses who may have gotten to a point where they feel like they've gotten to a plateau and they can't see growth. They don't know what the next level for their business is. Please let them know how they can tap into the resources at Kariri to take their business to another level.
Right? So certainly visit our website, www.kariri.com. We do have several other programs. So as you just indicated, we have another program called the IGAP, the Innovation Gap Analysis Program, where we come into organizations and we do a gap analysis to understand what innovation is there that you didn't recognize that you can institute to also help you become more productive, be more profitable, to have a new line, to save money. So that is something that they could do as well. So there are many things that we have at Kariri that entrepreneurs can take advantage of, including youth entrepreneurs. We have an innovation, a DIA innovation lab for youths, and that's a 2-week project where they are able to take 2 weeks of training and also utilize our lab that has 3D printers, laser cutters, that youths are now able to get some free education, some free capacity building to also begin their entrepreneurship journey or to jumpstart their entrepreneurship journey as well.
Right, and this is the 2-week program for youth. It is in Trinidad. Are there any facilities available to engage Tobago youth?
It's actually virtually,
Okay.
so they don't have to leave Tobago to come. And what we did on one occasion is there is one day that they come to the physical lab where they interact with some of the equipment. What we do is that we bring the equipment to Tobago, partner with some of our partners, and they can see it there. So they would have done the 2-week program. We then come to Tobago where they would interact with the equipment.
Excellent. And you said that the European Union is playing a part in the grant. Can you just tell us what role they are playing in the overall project?
So the European Union and the IDB Lab are the key agencies that are driving this project, of course, with the Ministry of Planning and Development. Kariri is the executing agency. So for this part of the project, the grants, the Innovation Facility Challenge, all of the funding is coming from the European Union. So they are playing the major role, and we certainly want to thank them for that continued support, not just of Kariri, of course, but for Trinidad and Tobago as a whole.
All right, and as we wrap up this morning's discussion, again, encourage Tobago businesses, Tobago entrepreneurs on why it's important to utilize this facility and be a part of this grant.
So we do understand that entrepreneurs out there need a jumpstart. They do need funding. We understand for innovation funding, it's difficult to get it from the traditional sources of finance. And that is why this project was developed. I am proud to announce that we have two Tobago entrepreneurs who are already recipients of this grant. We have Ruhas Engineering and we have the Charlotte Estate Limited. And they have taken up this opportunity and they are doing well. And so we want to encourage other Tobago entrepreneurs to really come on board. Fill out your application. It's an easy application. Go to www.kariri.com, Projects Shaping the Future of Innovation. If you have any questions, call us at 299-0210. Take advantage of this. We know there's a lot of innovation happening, and this can be a game changer to really help you scale your business.
Thank you so much. And to the entrepreneurs, this might just be the answer to your prayer. 75,000 US dollars. Think about what that can do for your innovative business idea. So again, we want to thank you, Mrs. Ferguson, and your team over there at Kariri for extending the message to Tobago to ensure that Tobago entrepreneurs are a part of this. Guys, we want to thank you this morning for being a part of our show on Good Morning Tobago. We want to thank you for liking, sharing, and commenting, and thank you for being a huge part of the conversation this morning. Again, I want to express sincere gratitude to the management accountant of the THA, Mrs. Petal Roberts, as well as Dr. Faith B. Israel, the Deputy Chief Secretary, for coming on this morning and discussing with us and making sure that our show this morning was a success again. Guys, thank you for doing all that you have been doing to make Tobago Updates the #1 broadcaster here on the island of Tobago. Again, I say good morning and thank you.